All right. Hi, I'm Nick with Nick's Picks Walks Reviews here on the About Time channel to talk about a new release and an announcement that happened this week that maybe caught you by surprise. And I'm joined by John. John, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is John. On Instagram, you can find me at Watches with John. I'm a friend of the channel and a huge tool watch enthusiast, so I'm excited to talk about the new watch.
Awesome. And wrist check, what are you wearing today?
I am actually wearing a new Tudor release, which is the Gen 3 Black Bay 41 with the master chronometer movement inside. Huge fan of it. Really enjoying it so far.
Awesome. And I'm wearing my Omega Seamaster 300 in white, the great white. Love that watch.
Oh, looks
Feels
great.
perfect on a NATO. Just throwing that out there. And Karan couldn't join us this morning. In fact, because mainly because we were going to be talking about watches that appear on a NATO strap, and so he's not apparently allowed to be exposed to NATO straps. I guess it's bad for his health or something. So he had to opt out today based on that. But what were your initial thoughts when you saw this announcement go out, before you saw it go out, right? Because they did that pre-announcement, that little tease, like we're going to see something from the past that is, coming together and somehow, bringing together different periods of time. What were your thoughts when you initially saw the teaser? What did you think they were going to be doing?
Of course. So my initial thought was the angle of bringing up the past made me think it had to be a Pelagos because that's their new diver. And are they gonna merge past past references or anything from the past with a vintage inspired watch or a heritage designed watch? That didn't make sense to me. So I figured they would be merging some historic elements from the past into something new, and I was excited. I was excited.
Yeah, I was seeing that. I'm thinking, like, wouldn't it be great if we had, we had recently the all the Swatch collaborations with themselves, right? So
Right.
we had the Swatch where we have the Moon Swatch, and then now we have the System 51 Fathoms, or
Hmm.
the Scuba, as they're calling it. Hello, everybody. Hello from Michigan. Hello from all the places. But I was thinking, if we're doing these whole collaboration with yourselves, which Tudor, that brand was kind of built on that. Let's collaborate with Rolex ourselves, and put a different movement inside. I was hoping they'd bring back the Tudor Submariner and have kind of the Rolex inspired case, because I don't know how they would feel about today, doing a proper Rolex case with a Tudor movement, but that would be awesome. And then I would have immediately bought that. I've been like, that would be amazing. And I know that some people like really hate the plastic Swatch releases, but
Hmm.
to me, I'm a kind of guy that would buy a Hot Wheel for a car that I have, or a Power Wheel for it. And I feel like that's the same thing, and it's fun to me. I don't like the whole like let's flip them on eBay immediately and block all the access to them for people that actually want them directly. But whatever. This kind of goes with
Absolutely.
this whole space, I guess, that exists for even watches that don't look like Happy Meal toys, as it's called. But so I was seeing that. I was hoping that maybe we would get something that is like a Tudor Submariner or something like that. But that's not what we got. So what
It's
did we
not.
get? What did we get? Let's take a look. We got another Pelagos FXD. So I saw that. What did you think when you
Yeah.
saw like it's going to be another Pelagos FXD?
Well, it makes sense. I think the Alinghi release was a little too out of left field for the mainstream, so I figured in my mind it was all right. They'll probably do something along the FXD for more people. Uh, we've had the 39 come about recently, and again, having owned currently owning the new iteration of the Black Bay, I figured it's too good for them to do another Black Bay thing. Uh, and yeah, I was excited for it, and it was honestly what I was hoping for. It was what I was hoping to see from Tudor.
Nice. So
And
I feel
yourself?
like this is the watch channel for people that actually have jobs during the week and can't watch all the latest releases when they happen. So like when I saw this, like I'm at work, I see on Instagram, because I kind of every now and then doom scroll on Instagram, and I see like, okay, there's going to be some announcement. I'll try to figure it out later. And I come up for air between meetings, And I'm trying, I'm like, I know that Tudor did a release today. And so I hop on, I'm on their site. I'm like, okay, where's the release? And I see, okay, there's the Pelagos FXD. And I scroll past it because I'm like, they already did that. Like that's all we already know that the Red Bull collaboration. Yeah, they had that one. And so it didn't even process to me that no, they actually have a new FXD again, this time with a unidirectional bezel, this time with a proper dive time bezel and a black dial with some red text. And you gotta love the red text that shows up in that space. But I wasn't expecting that, so I scrolled.
Mhm.
And I missed it. So I was a little bit surprised, honestly, that that's what it was. I was like, okay, I feel like we've seen this and done it. But then as I kind of dug a little bit more, I was like, okay, I can kind of appreciate what we're doing here. And certainly I had been tracking their other releases. The Pelagos 39, I think was beautiful. I think that was a good choice to get the Pelagos into a smaller case size. Ultimately, I mean, that's one of my main complaints with it. I love my Pelagos. In fact, that's one of my top two watches that I wear is my Pelagos, my Seamaster. I think those two get more wrist time along with my Submariner, those kind of three, than anything else. And my one complaint with my Pelagos is the size, right? So if we look at the size of that, um, just comparing it side by side, let's do this here.
Mhm.
Comparing it side by side with the Black Bay 58, it's a giant, and then its case height is also enormous. And so having an option that was smaller with the 39 initially seemed like that's going to be a really good play. But I really wish that we had something kind of in between, but also smaller case height. The FXD was out there; it was kind of nice, but I didn't like the bezel, and so seeing this was kind of exciting to me. That they're going to have something now that could potentially, let me try to get the screens back. Where are we here? Maybe if I remove and re-add it back. There we go. Seeing the FXD, I was thinking, that's going to be something that could land in the sweet spot. But for me, it needs to be a blue dial. My whole collection, pretty much, except for a few, are blue dial divers. My wife hates that, by the way. But I was hoping for that. But I was surprised. Again, my initial reaction to that announcement was kind of a little bit of surprise that it was another FXD. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, and in my mind, I feel like it's almost going the opposite of the Black Bay 58, where they started with the black dial variant, the more popular or at least more versatile release from my standpoint, and then switched to the blue. So with the FXD going from the blue to the black, it just made sense.
Yeah. Wilson, hi. All right, cool. So we got, let's go ahead and scroll down. We have, in terms of specs here, we have a fabric strap. Of course, it's a fixed, you don't have spring bars there. You have a setup where you're basically going to be wearing it on a NATO. Two different straps, though, right? So you have one that's kind of this flat black. You have another one that has green or olive drab, or I'm not really sure what they're calling that color exactly. I'm sure I could read the materials and find it, but with that red stripe down the middle, which would you wear it on? Would you wear it on the flat black or the the green?
Oh, I would go with the green fabric. And what wins it over for me, especially, normally I'm a rubber strap kind of guy, but the Velcro just makes sure that you get the perfect fit no matter what. So I love the Velcro strap that these come on, and I would have a hard time taking it off of that strap personally. What about yourself?
So for me, it's the color. I can't pull off olive drab. It just looks wrong on me. It doesn't fit. Like people look at it and they're like, no, that's not you. So like, and by people, I mean, I look at it and I say, no, that's not you. What am I even doing? No one will believe this. So I would do the flat black, but honestly, again, I would love it was blue. Just kind of one of those guys that like my blue dial divers, and I would want it blue all the way through. But I get it. I would probably go with the black for this one. And I do rock my black Submariner quite a bit. And that one, I think this would be something that would step in some of those same places. But usually when I'm wearing my sub, I'm doing it because I want to wear a metal bracelet as opposed to a NATO. So I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's a challenge for me. But as we look at the specs, oh wow, that's very high motion video there. We'll come back to that video. That's very exciting. But as we look at the specs, which I think are at the very bottom here, No, they're not
Yeah,
even at the very bottom. I think we're going to have to click through.
you got to
There we
get through the
go.
marketing first.
Yeah, I got to get through the marketing first. So specifications here. We have a titanium case with a 42 mil diameter, 12.75 mil thick, 52 mil lug to lug. It is running the MT 5602 movement, COSC certified. In terms of the waterproofness, it's waterproof up to 200 meters or 660 feet. And of course, the big difference there between the previous FXDs is that unidirectional rotating bezel.
Right.
And it's a proper dive time bezel. So the markings on the bezel, we are going to see that they line up to your, actual minutes when you're just trying to tell the time. You're not trying to, navigate underwater. It's like, I just want to tell the time. Well, the numbers are going to line up. 50 minutes after the hour shows up at 50 minutes after the hour. So if you didn't like that about previous releases, where you had the, original FXD trying to help you navigate underwater, not necessarily trying to help you just tell the time in day-to-day life, then you might appreciate the return to that style of bezel, the dive timing bezel that we had with the other entrants in the Pelagos line.
Absolutely, and I fall to that camp. I have more dive watches than I should have, and I like that they all work in the same way. And so with this release, going back to the unidirectional bezel with the elapsed time counter on the scale on the bezel, again, it's hitting the areas that I probably would have changed from the blue version personally.
Nice. Yeah, same here. Like that for me was one of the things that I was looking at as a huge improvement between, the Marine Nationale and this version, which of course is history-wise, they're trying to connect it back. If you're wondering, like, where's the history here? Because like it's a new thing. They're connecting back to the U.S. Navy. So we have Marine Nationale for the blue. We have the U.S. Navy over here, and then of course random Red Bull. I don't know, in the middle of
Red
the
Bull Navy
collection. Yeah. So it's a weird collection when you add Red Bull into the mix, but you got to make money somewhere. So gotta love
fund
those.
That chronograph.
Yeah, exactly. So just looking at it in terms of thinking about your collection, John, would this fit in your collection? And if it would, awesome. I guess that's just a yes or no. It's not really a good discussion point, is it? But if it wouldn't, what would you have to kind of shift around in your collection? What would have to not be in your collection to get this in there?
Ooh, well, that is a great question because I own a Pelagos 39, which is strikingly similar to this new
Yes, sir.
release. Now, there are some differences that I personally appreciate between the two. On the Pelagos 39, I do like the subtle sunburst sheen that you get from the dial and the bezel, and I love the bracelet. Pelagos bracelets are top tier when it comes to dive watches, and 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 those are just going to be hard to replace. If it leaves my collection, I would miss it instantly. I know that for a fact. However, I love the legibility on this. I love the ruggedness, and it brings probably a confidence that I wouldn't have in the Pelagos 39, while maintaining the aesthetic and the I guess the feel that I appreciate in a watch. And would it be
Absolutely.
repetitive? Absolutely. But when you're thinking about spending potentially thousands of dollars on something, I like to go for what I like. So it would be repetitive in my collection, but this is a crazy hobby, and if I can justify other things, I'm sure I could justify that.
Nice. And Karan says, stick to bracelets, throw away NATO for life.
Wow.
Wrong.
We're both wearing watches on NATOs today,
I know,
right?
right? Like this is the only time, like if I know I'm about to go actually swimming or in the water, yeah, I'm going to toss on something with a bracelet. If I'm about to cook something with grease flying everywhere, because I mean, if you look at me, obviously that's what I'm doing with my life. Then I'm going to toss it on, a bracelet, something that I can actually more easily clean. But no, I love the NATOs. Love the NATOs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of NATOs, like the Omega NATO strap for only $260. Now I say only, and you might be like, that's awful. Like a NATO should be like $10. I'm throwing this out there. This has been the most durable NATO. There's not been any fraying. It's held up for years now. I'm shocked, honestly, with the level of quality that they delivered there. And you look at some of the other pricing of NATOs for like luxury watches, it can get obscene. So I have the Blancpain 50 Fathoms Bath Escape with the chronograph, the flyback chronograph in green. And to get a NATO for that from Blancpain with their signed everything and proper clasp, it was like $805. I did not buy it. That's obscene. Like
Ooh,
that's a price level that is not not reasonable. So at
right.
a much lower price point, I guess, relatively, but way high for a NATO still, this one's been working out good. Scissors will not be accepted for that, and we'll call that good. Now,
Wow, I'm
looking
impressed.
at it here, sorry, looking at the image here, if I had these muscles to bring with it, I think this would be incredible in my collection. Like I would be like, I'd wear that all the
Mhm.
time. I'm not that guy though. I need to go train apparently. Um, does it fit in my collection? Probably not, to be honest. I have my Pelagos that I'm happy with. If I could get this FXD again, exactly configured like this, but blue, I would do it in like 2 seconds, and my wife would be very upset because it would be yet another blue diver. But that's my collection. My collection is mostly blue divers, except where it's not, and I'm okay with that. I've accepted that, and that's kind of where I'm at. If I could get this one with the muscles pictured, I'm in. I mean, that would be we'd be definitely doing that.
Not just divers, blue divers.
Oh my gosh, my wife is breaking into the studio to say not just divers, blue divers in his collection. Yes,
All right,
I
while she just has
acknowledge.
blue divers up each arm.
Yeah. All right. Now, what are some of the things that you did that you liked or didn't like that maybe you haven't shared yet? Because that's next on my handwritten agenda of what we should talk about. I think we've already
Of
said some
course.
things. Yeah.
One thing that I don't like is the rubber strap. I would love to see it something other than flat black. I think the blue gets away with the different shades of blue and it plays well together. But on this release, love the fabric strap, and the rubber strap just looks like an incomplete design to me. I would love if even if it was a dark gray, just any slight color variation, especially for how nice of a rubber strap that is. I would
Yeah.
love for it to bring a little bit of contrast to the design and the overall package.
Yeah. See, I like it because it doesn't. I like it because it's like just let's not try to stand out too much here and figure out. I'm thinking like, what would I wear and how would I put that together? I don't even know. I don't do fashion very well, obviously.
Mhm.
If I can just get a blue dive watch, I know what to do with that. I've done that. If I can just wear a black shirt all day, I know what to do with a black shirt. Free
Right.
shirts from work, also. You work at tech companies; they like to give you free shirts for everything. So I have a lot of
Oh
those.
yeah.
My wardrobe is mainly free shirts and
Yeah,
gym shorts.
I've got a gray sweatshirt, a gray hat, and gray shorts on right now. So that's
Done.
I'm in the same boat.
You don't have to think about it in the morning. But I put more thought into my watch than the rest of my outfit. And
As you
by the
should.
way, as I'm thinking about this, because it was just called out in the comments, the trunk show, Orologio trunk show is November
Mhm.
1st and 2nd. Invites have been sent out. Please RSVP if you're going to be able to make it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it this year, to be honest, based on the dates and when it is. So, but if you can make it, November 1st and 2nd, invites have been sent. Definitely RSVP so that they can prepare for you to be there.
Absolutely, it'll be a great time.
Absolutely. All right, now last question here, and folks, you're welcome to kind of jump in here as well. Like opine about the things that you liked, you didn't like, the things that were missed opportunities potentially. What you thought when you initially saw the announcement. What did you think they were going to do? But what do you hope that they do next? Like, if you could plan their next release, what would you say should be that next release?
Ooh, and are you thinking for Tudor or for the
Yeah, for
FXD
Tudor.
line? Ooh, I would love to see for Tudor the T-Fit class across the 58 line and maybe a new colorway. I
That would be nice.
I am again. I can't say enough about it. I'm over the moon about my Gen 3 Black Bay, and I think that if they roll out some of the same updates, which are a little bit different dial finishing,
Yeah.
I believe the markers are just a hair larger than on previous versions, and the T-Fit clasp, it's going to take their entire line up a notch.
Yeah, toss the clasp on screen because I have, like I said, I have my BB58 here. We can show side by side difference in clasp and what we're kind of talking about here. Oh, of course. But yeah, no, so the T-Fit clasp, definitely a huge upgrade. Obviously, this is not the T-Fit clasp. We have, a few points to a few micro adjustments here on the side, and that's about it. If you want to, size it on the wrist at the moment, you're kind of SOL, and so it's going to be a pretty much fixed size watch for you. Now, for me, I change size throughout the day. So this starts, at certain points loose, and then after certain meals or certain temperature ranges, it's now tight. And so if I add another link or if I do, a micro adjust out, it's just loose all day and it doesn't feel right. So, if I had the T-Fit clasp, and also they have a really sharp part of the clasp that always hits the actually it's down here. What am I doing? Trying to point, but I'm also trying to look at the camera to see what I'm pointing at the same time. So down here, this sharp point of the clasp, it actually impacts this link. I'm not sure if that's addressed by the T-Fit clasp, but that's still kind of happening there. But that's been another point. It's like, dude, I get this mark in the link. That's a design issue. That's not like a wear of oh, it's just because you're wearing it and you're telling the story. Well, the story of my watch is the design of the clasp is dumb.
Right. Well, now they moved the sharp point up to the flip lock portion. So instead of knocking your bracelet, it's just going to gouge your finger.
Okay.
Outside of the Ranger.
Great.
But it looks nice. So
yeah,
they've got that.
Yeah. So, in terms of what I hope they do next, I honestly hope they take the FXD in black that we just had released and they turn it immediately to blue. And I know that they already have a blue entry in that line with the Marine Nationale, but to be honest, I need that dive time bezel in the worst way. And I would take that in a heartbeat over my current Pelagos. And I think that my current Pelagos, then its place would be kind of like the things I would wear this for. I would start wearing my sub more for that, just based on it's still on a bracelet as opposed to a NATO. So, and that would leave me
in a
with
perfect world.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, would you add any color contrast like they have Pelagos in red on the black version? Would you add any color contrast or would you keep the same scheme as the one you already have?
I don't know, to be honest. I think it would be interesting to toss some green in there, like a green highlighted text, like a bright green. I think bright green and blue are kind of an interesting combination that I haven't really seen. Maybe it exists all over the place and I'm just not paying attention enough, but I just haven't seen that as much. I think orange and blue do fantastic together. So one of my first Swiss watches was a Tag Heuer Aqua Racer in blue sunburst dial with an orange accent, and that looks pretty nice. But of course, there was a different time where those colors were popular in general, and so is it enduring? Yeah, honestly, I like that, and maybe I'm the person that still dresses like whatever year I was growing up in, 50 years into the future, which is fine for me. Maybe it's not fashionable, but I would take with a splash of orange, maybe a splash of green. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be exciting. Would love to see that.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to do it, to be honest. But I would love to see that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's we take what we can get when you're a watch enthusiast, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, last thing that I'm going to share. So I am working on consolidating my collection, trying to be more fiscally responsible. If you are out there watching and you would like to add an Oris Aquas Cal 400 to your collection, this is the first release of that. Very nice watch, 5-day power reserve. You can hit me up on Instagram at Nice American Hummus and talk about that. There's a few watches in my collection I'm going to let go, a few that I'd like to then add, maybe, but also, just be more fiscally responsible in these times where, we look at inflation, we look at some of the things in the world, and it's maybe I don't need the number of watches that I have. So those are kind of the things we
did a really great job with
this one. What was that?
And Oris did a really great job with those. With the new
Yes.
movement has got some
And
really
the dial
impressive
for me, the
specs.
dial is what captured me on this one. Killer dial. The size is pretty big though. So 43.5. It's a big boy. I have extra links for it too if you are an extra big boy. But I am currently not. I got really, really big after COVID, and that was really bad. I'm about halfway back to where I was.
Oh, well, if we're removing links, that's a
Yeah,
lot of
there's
progress.
3 links out of it right now from where it was. So I feel like I've lost 3 links. But I disappeared off YouTube for a year too, and that's kind of one of the primary reasons I was. That was not a good use of my time when I had, gained so much. I needed to get back into shape. I'm like, all right, we're going to spend that time differently and apply it towards my health as opposed to talking about watches in a sedentary fashion.
Oh, well, I mean, seems like you made a ton of progress. Holy cow.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm impressed.
it's did what I could. I obviously am not there.
I'm on
Now,
that journey myself because I
awesome.
packed them on during COVID.
That's kind of how it went, right? One thing we didn't talk about, and this will be the last thing, last 2 minutes, price point. Do you think they hit the price point right? So they have this priced at $4,150 US. Is that a decent price point? Is that the wrong price point? Is it too much? Is it cheap? And they should have went for more. How are you feeling about the price point on it?
I think it's in the sweet spot. Of course, having been around for the release of the original FXD, I wish it was around the original FXD pricing, way back in, what was that, 2021?
Yeah.
And so, I have seen all the prices rise, and I can't forget the old prices. However, I think this is fair. I think it holds its own very well compared to other options in the same price point.
Right. Yeah, so it's coming in at a price point that is right in line with the previous Marine Nationale release, which looks incredible, by the way. Look at that. Come on. That's a beautiful, gorgeous watch right there. So it's coming in right around that same price point, and by right around I mean identical price point, $4,150. When I look at it next to some of the other things in the line, we're seeing things like right here, the titanium bezel, black carbon insert, blue fabric strap. Yeah, it's different materials, right? But it's a much lower price point, like much lower.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. I would have liked to see in that range. I kind of wish that we'd see some kind of pullback. I know that we're not going to. I know that it's just going to be constant slow boil up to infinity pricing, especially in the environment of inflation, but also in the environment of inflation that we're in. There's less disposable or discretionary income for expenses like these. And so it's curious to me that luxury brands are still pushing as hard as they can on pricing in an environment where people don't have that level of discretionary income to spend, because these are going back now to houses and fixes. In fact, for me, that's kind of where it's been. It's like, this house broke over here, and this one had a washer issue. So washer issue at one house, and then this one, every possible issue. So it kind of becomes this pinch, and then like materials for everything, all those fixes get more expensive. Cars are more expensive to maintain. Like everything is and so you got to wonder, like, how is that going to impact sales, or does it at all? Maybe they can still achieve the same amount of sales with these higher price points that they keep pushing on, that they did before. I would love this kind of $3,700 price point. I think that would be like the sweet spot for me. $4,150. I didn't spend, like, I spent around $3,500, I think, for my Pelagos when I got it. And I think that was a fair price when I got it. It was pre-owned. It had damage, but it was repaired under warranty. And it's been good ever since. So,
and that was the original release price, roughly, right? 3,600, if I remember correctly.
Something around there, yeah. And that's been way up now. Like if you look at some of the other like my BB58, I think it was like now I was under 4,000 when I bought it, and it's much more now. So, and I could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure. So if we look at, what happens if we actually go to get the Pelagos straight up, not the Pelagos FXD, but I want to get guess I have to click Pelagos in the giant paragraph of text to find it.
Right.
Yeah, so the Pelagos now is $5,000
Mhm.
on the bracelet. To me, that's way too much. It's way too much. It's a
Yeah,
great watch. Fantastic
everything's
watch.
creeping up though.
Yeah. So anyway, that is all for today. We'll call it good from there. Hope you enjoyed the show. Do share your thoughts in the comments about what you thought the release was going to be, how you liked it, what you think Tudor should do next, and how do you feel about the pricing. But we'll see you next time. Until then, take care.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Take care.